I was explaining some of the work that we were doing. And as I finished the explanation, and he sat for a moment and he had a very quizzical look on his face. And then he came back and he brought up one of the points and he said to me, he said, "Tell me more about that." Now, how often do you find yourself locked into a conversation that feels a little bit more like you're trying to win an argument? We find ourselves in these types of conversations often where we are coming with different perspectives, and those perspectives are fighting. It's not that one is right and wrong, it's that they're different. But yet, we find ourselves in that place of right or wrong. And that can be challenging, right? Because we want to invite differing perspectives, but at the same time, we want our perspective to also be respected. And what I found is that when we have curiosity as our come from place, it changes the entire conversation. Because what happens is suddenly we're opening up instead of shutting down. And it sounds like this. I remember many years ago, actually, being in a conversation when I was VP of marketing for a very large corporate training company. And our head of learning and I were having a conversation about one of the campaigns that we were working on. I was explaining some of the work that we were doing. And he was, one of these people who was intensely curious. And as I was explaining it to him, and it was obvious to me that he wasn't really understanding or tracking with me. And as I finished the explanation, and he sat for a moment and he had a very quizzical look on his face. And then he came back and he brought up one of the points and he said to me, he said, "Tell me more about that." And rather than challenging me, what he was doing was opening up the conversation. And what happened was we started having a great conversation and we went deeper and deeper, and he provided some perspective. I provided some perspective. But every time we came to an impasse, he would use that phrase, "Tell me more about that." And it really stuck with me. It completely shifted the way I approach things. And it's something I use a lot more. Often when I'm on stage or in front of an audience and you get somebody who starts to challenge what you're saying, and that can be frustrating. But when you use that phrase, "Tell me more about that," it creates a whole new conversation. Often in workshops, in fact, when somebody does challenge where we're coming from, I use that. I'll say, tell me what it is that you're hearing and what it is that that's triggering for you so I can understand what it is that I'm saying that's bringing you to a new place. And we go back and forth. These are ways in which for us to engage with an audience, to engage with an individual in a way that allows our curiosity to drive the conversation rather than our need to be right to drive the conversation. And I can remember, people saying that to me a lot. "Oh, you need to be right." And I never ever thought about myself as needing to be right. I often was seeking accuracy versus being right. But the way it was perceived was that I was trying to be right. So when I heard this phrase and started employing it, it shifted. So when somebody would say to me, "Oh, I don't agree with that. I think it should be this." And I would then probe with, "Tell me more." As they would go deeper, I would understand how I was not actually being clear, or how what I was saying was challenging their way of seeing something. And when I understood their way of seeing it, I was able to integrate it and to understand even the thing that I was talking about more. So when we lead with curiosity, what we're doing is we're creating an invitation to co-create. We're creating the ability for us and our audience to work together so that the outcome will surprise both of us. I certainly don't know everything. I learn every day, and my clients teach me so much every day. So, by leading with curiosity, I have the opportunity to learn and to grow, as well as help my clients do the very same thing. Don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube.